My friend Smita Singh from Houston, Texas is going to join us. We're going to talk about open houses. And I guarantee you're going to want to get your pen handy because this is going to be good. So, how are you doing, friend?
Fantastic, fantastic.
All right. And so you're there in Sugarland, which is a suburb of Houston, right? The
Yes.
greater Houston area, which is where your team serves. You want to share just a little bit quickly about you and your team?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm part of the Seth Brothers team, and we have about 30 agents on our team. We're a mega icon team, and I've been doing real estate for about 5.5 years in EXP with the team. So this is where I live and breathe every day. And yeah, it's been fantastic. I've learned everything here about real estate. And this is where our team leads, Kanal and Sonnet. And that's who I pretty much learned everything from. And now I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm ready to fly. Let's do this.
That's awesome. And one thing I should share, because I see it in your title there, we got to hang out last week at the Women's Impact Network, and you are one of our board of directors. Congratulations, and we're
Thank
so
you.
glad to have you on that. If you're not involved with that, get involved with that. At EXPCon, we're going to be doing a little gathering for WIN on Wednesday afternoon, so make sure that you check that out. So open houses. This, depending upon how you feel about open houses, they are either amazing or they are an inconvenience that my seller makes me do. And if you're in the latter group, no offense, but I'd suggest maybe you're not doing it as powerfully as you could. And so Smitha and I were having a great conversation. And so I wanted to bring forward some of the great ideas. And I'm not kidding when I say get your pens handy, because we're going to be giving you scripts, we're giving you strategies and things of that nature. So let's start with why are open houses even important? And you'd shared, even more important now. What did you mean by that?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you background. When I first started, I was like, okay, what are these open houses? Let me figure this out. My book of business, I built entirely on open houses. It is entire. I will give all credit to open houses. I truly believe that if you haven't been doing it, this is the time to get into it and get started. It is a completely different landscape at the moment. And I truly think that open houses are going to be number one, where you have both opportunities. If you're a listing agent, there are going to be people that are walking in are wanting to do business directly with you. So that was not very possible earlier. And then the other reason is all these buyers, motivated, ready to go buyers, are going to come into your open houses. And this is your opportunity to convert them, because this is where you're standing with them, having conversations, and able to demonstrate your value. So I think right now, this is the most important lead generation pillar that you need to be working on in your business.
Yeah, and you'd shared about this idea that buyers who maybe don't want to sign that BRA yet with another agent, this is going to be an avenue where they're able to kind of get out there, see some of the homes, and sort of circumvent, if you will, that need to sign a buyer rep agreement right away. Um, I bet there's a lot of agents right now who are thinking, well, I don't have any listings in inventory. And so maybe I should just start playing Wordle until Nora comes on and talks about EXPCon. But hold on a second, because you do open houses pretty darn regularly, like almost every weekend, but not all of them are yours.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, in my first few years, I would do it every weekend. And yes, not all of them are mine, but I think that is really the beauty of EXP, because there are so many agents in your area that are in EXP. They have listings that they're not going to be able to do every weekend. Maybe they are doing it every weekend, they do it from a certain timeline, and you can pick another slot. And I'm telling you, there are so many times when I've myself had listings and EXP agents will call me and say, hey, Smitha, do you mind if we can do an open house on your listing? And I'm more than happy for them to do it, because I'm a listing agent. I'd like to get as much exposure on the home as I can. And if somebody is saying, hey, you know what, I'll do it on this day, and that's my day with my family, and I'm not able to do it, great, here you go. So I it's so important. And we love, I mean, at EXP, we're all about collaboration. And if we're not taking advantage of that, I think you're really missing out. So it's okay if you don't have listings, that's totally fine. What you need to do is scope out all the other EXP agents first in your area. Start making those phone calls and start getting those open houses for the weekends. And also, I'll tell you, just yesterday for one of my listings, somebody that is not an EXP reached out to me. So do that as well. It's okay. I think at the end of the day, if people are not doing open houses, they would like somebody to do it for them. And also that they're able to present themselves in a much better fashion for their clients as well. So
Yeah.
I truly believe that this is a time for collaboration. And you can absolutely, if you don't have listings, pick up the phone and get open houses from other agents.
That's right. And do you mind sharing your script? What do you say to those other agents when you call them?
Absolutely. So the first thing is, so it's a little bit different when it's an EXP agent versus not an EXP agent, but pretty much like I'll call them and I'll say, hey, Bryon, this is Smita. And if I don't, again, if I have a relationship with them, it's a little bit different, but I'll just assume that you don't know them. So I'll just say, hey, Bryon, this is Smita. And I see that you have a listing coming up or on the market at this particular ABC address. And I would love to do an open house for you. I see that you don't have any open houses scheduled for this weekend. I'd love to do the open house for you and showcase the home. Let me know if it is available on Saturday from 3 to 5. Pretty much.
And when you and I were talking, you even shared that if they're holding it open from 2 to 5, you'll ask
Yes.
if they don't mind if you hold it open from 11 to 2 or whatever. Right?
100%, especially if it's a vacant home, why not, right? If they're doing it from 3 to 5, and if you want to go and say, hey, can I do it from 12 to 2? I mean, most of them will go say yes to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And by the way, if you're not involved in your local area with your other EXP agents, I know here in Austin, we have Miss Elizabeth Riley who puts on the AHA Club. I know there's a bunch of AHA clubs in other metro areas. I know in Houston, that gang gets together quite a bit, I think on a monthly basis at least, to powwow and talk about what's going on in Mastermind. Those are great opportunities to build relationships with other EXP agents. So make sure that you're taking advantage of them. All right, so let's kind of go soup to nuts, if you will, with an open house. So before we talk about what we do to hold the house open, anything in particular you're telling your sellers in preparation for it? How do you, are they asking you, or are you asking them? And then what do you tell them about, holding the house open?
Absolutely. So I almost always tell them that we are going to be doing open houses in the weekends, so they are ready for it. It is also for me when I talk to them, I always tell them that it's a great way to get exposure. You never know, somebody will walk in and they like something, they want to go ahead and put in an offer. Why not? The maximum exposure that you can give to your home is what's going to help get it sold. It's all about the marketing, right? So yes, and I prepare them. They know that we're going to have open houses every weekend, and most of the time they're pretty open to it, unless of course they're living in it, and then they'll say, "Well, can you just do Saturdays?" And that's great. We have it set up right in the beginning.
So are you holding the homes open multiple days through a weekend, and are you also holding them open like a singular home multiple weekends?
100%. So literally every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, if possible.
I love that.
Yes.
All right. And so we get our sellers prepped, and so we're going to start. Where do we start? Are we doing like mass promotion here? How do we get the word out that we're going to hold this house open?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you, I do a lot of trainings on open houses, and so there's two fundamental mindsets that I talk about. Number one is that you are there not to sell the homes, but to build a pipeline, right? That's number one. That's the number one mindset shift that you need to have. The number two thing, which I talk about, is what I call my VAP formula, which is visibility, authority, and branding. These are, if you go in with these three things in your mind, you're going to shift the way you have conversations with people. right? You just asked me a couple of minutes ago, how many times do you do open house for the same home? Every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, consistently, for as long as it takes. Now, what is that doing? It's building consistency, right? And the more you do it there, the more your branding is out there, the more visible you are. People in the neighborhood are going to see you. Eventually, they're going to start talking to you. Eventually, they're going to tell you, hey, I saw you here last weekend. Oh, she does this. She does open houses every weekend. So that consistency that we talk about in pretty much everything, also when you do open houses, you're able to see the results in several ways. So let's go back to the process. So I will tell you, my process is very simple and efficient. I like to use my time as efficiently as possible. So prior to the open house, I don't do very much marketing on social media. Here's the reason why, because yes, it's going to, even if I put it out on social media, the buyers that I'm trying to find are really not the ones that are on my social media, right? So sure, I can put it, but really it's a hit or miss. So instead, obviously, we put it on the MLS. That's definitely there because the motivated buyers will actually pull out a list. Okay, what are the open houses happening this weekend? And that's very important. But the main thing is to, on the day of, to put out as many signs as you can, because that is the biggest visibility and branding part of this whole open house strategy, right? So if, for example, I'm doing an open house from 3 to 5, I will go at 12 o'clock and start putting out a ton of signs. And when I say ton,
Let's say that again. If the
yes,
open house is at 3 o'clock, not at 2:59, are you putting out the signs? When are you doing it?
at possibly by 12 o'clock, it should
Yeah.
be out.
Yeah.
And tons, right? So when I say tons, like 25, 30, as many as the HOA if you're in a master plan neighborhood, will allow. Put it at every intersection, right? Put it at everywhere that people are driving to get to the home. And the main thing about that is, again, visibility and branding, because the
Right.
more familiar people see it, they keep seeing your signs every weekend, they're going to be like, oh, she's busy, she's doing, like, she's always doing something in real estate every weekend. I've had people, like young kids, will tell me, oh, I saw your sign somewhere. I'm like, yeah, that's me. So it's all about putting yourself out there, and this is subtle, gentle marketing.
Yeah, it's not that people are going to get lost looking for your open houses if you
That's
don't have
correct.
30 to
They're going to
40
find
signs.
you.
That's not what you're doing it for. And I like that it's a much more marketing based approach. We had Dwayne Richens and Jeremy Davis on last week, and they were talking about circle prospecting. Now, by the way, if you didn't listen to that band, go listen to that band. Those guys are amazing. I mean, really simple in their strategy, but really cool in their advice that they gave. But what's interesting is I don't think they shared it on the show. But when they do an open house, they simply put a sign on the front door of the open house that says, sorry, out talking to the neighbors. And they're out door knocking, right? That's
Yeah,
their form of lead generation. It's circle prospecting. And
yeah,
that is their open house, by the way.
yeah,
They're not doing the whole open thing. They're going out just circle prospecting. You
yeah.
take much more of a marketing based approach, which is equally valid. It works very well for you. And one of the things too that we got to make sure that we're doing though is using branded signs, right?
Hmm.
If you're using just the generic open house with the red arrow, that's not going to cut it. That's where
It's
you're
not.
you're banking on people being lost and needing the directionals, right?
Exactly. And it's a lost opportunity, right? I mean, you're spending 2, 3 hours of your weekend out there, maximize it. And one of the ways to maximize it is to use the signs to market. So, yes, absolutely. Don't use generic signs. Make sure you put your picture on it because that is super important. The more they see you, the more they recognize you, the more trust they built with you because they're already like, oh yeah, I've seen you somewhere.
Yeah. And You also talked about where you do open houses is important to you. Can you share a little bit more about what you meant by that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll tell you, in the beginning, when I started doing, in the beginning of my real estate career, when I started doing open houses, I would do them everywhere, right? Doesn't matter, whatever opportunity I'm getting, do it. And if that's where you are, go for it. Do it because it's going to give you so much confidence and it's going to give you so much more opportunity. It is fantastic. But the more important thing is to be intentional about where you do your open houses. So it's for me, when I'm training, I always I tell people that find your top 2 or 3 areas that you want to focus on, right? Top 2 or 3 areas. And the other thing is price point. If you want to get to a certain price point in your business, that's where you start focusing. So intentionally pick the area that you want to do, business in. And number 2, pick the price point that you want to sell homes at. Once you start doing that and you do it consistently, you'll see that obviously if you're holding a house open for $1 million home, the people that are coming in are the ones, the buyers, prospective buyers that are coming in are the ones that are looking for $1 million homes. If you're able to convert them, well, now you have a buyer who's looking for $1 million home, right? If you do it, and again, nothing against lower price point homes, but if you're doing it for a home that's 250, well, that's the buyers that you're getting. So if you want to elevate your business to higher price points, this is an amazing way to prospect those buyers.
And again, you don't have to have the listings in those neighborhoods. Just build the relationships with the listing agents in those neighborhoods.
Yes.
So, okay, can we quickly talk through the process of the open? Are we doing a sign-in sheet, and what's that relationship building process when they come in?
Absolutely. So, I'll tell you, for me, yes, I do sign-in sheets, but it's more of a conversation. A lot
Mm,
of times, I don't even get to the point of them signing in because I've spent 15 minutes with them talking. That now we're on a first name basis, and yeah, obviously you're going to give me your phone number, right? So the when people are walking in, the most important thing is to have a conversation with them, make them feel like they're important, and demonstrate your value to them. This is, I mean, to me, it's these people are walking in, they're motivated buyers, they're getting up in the middle of the heat, well, in Houston,
yeah.
and they're coming out of their cars and they're walking into this open house. They are motivated. Where else are you going to find these people, right? And when they're coming in, if you just tell them, hey, by the way, this home has 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms and whatever, they've already seen that on the MLS. I mean, I will almost never have that conversation about the house. But when I'm talking to them and I'm building a relationship with them based on where they are currently and what their needs are, very quickly, I mean, I will literally tell them that, hey, you know what, this house is not going to work for you, but I have something else that might work for you. So it's important to understand why they're there. What are they looking for? What is it that works for their family? And this is where your authority, the VAP formula, right? Visibility, authority, and branding. This is where your authority needs to shine. If you have done your homework, you know about the area because, again, remember, consistently you're doing open houses in the same area over and over again. So when you
Yeah.
start doing it, you start learning about the area, even if you don't live there, right? So now you're becoming an authority. And of course, do your homework, figure out what's going on in the areas, the schools, the ratings, what is it that the residents like, what is it that they don't like, all of that stuff. You've got to do that homework. But this is the time when you're talking to them, you're able to share with them all of this stuff. A lot of times agents will ask me, well, what if I tell them everything? Like why would they need me? No, when you tell them everything, they know that you know what you're talking about. This is
Yes.
where you're demonstrating that you are the authority. And if you don't work with me, you're missing out on it.
Well, and here's the thing. You can tell them 100% of what you know, they don't know that that's 100% of what you know.
That's
They may
exactly
assume that
right.
that's only 10% of what you know.
Yeah.
One of the other things that you said that is really cool, especially in this now time that we're in our industry, about differentiating ourselves, especially to buyers. You talked about pocket listings. Now, obviously, we have EXP exclusives, our
Yeah.
partnership with Zenlist, and if you've not checked that out, go and check out EXP exclusives. Right, those are pocket listings that our agents have put up on that platform that you have access to. But you take it a step further. You want to talk about how you go outside and find pocket listings as well?
Yes, absolutely. So this is the first of all, the advantage of having a team, right? Because there's 30 other agents. This is the advantage of being an EXP because we have the exclusives. Use it, right? Once you start having conversations with people, with other agents, get with them and ask them, hey, what's coming up? What do you have that is coming up? And the other agents, that is a listing agent, wants his house sold,
Hmm.
right? So they're going to tell you, hey, by the way, I don't want to tell you the address, but I have a home that has 4 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms down coming up. And yeah, I mean, if you have somebody, let me know. Now, this is information that you could use for your advantage when you are talking to motivated buyers. Because
Absolutely.
again, exactly, because when you are talking to them, you're able to tell them, hey, this is not working for you, but I know something that's coming up that might work for you. So a lot of people can say, hey, you know what, there's not as many EXP agents in my area. Well, let's see what's going on. I'm not kidding you. I have relationships with other agents in the area that I have messaged them and I have said, hey, I have a buyer. Do you have this coming up? And or like generically, I'll ask them, hey, what do you have coming up in this area? Once you start, this is a relationship world that we live in. And once you start cultivating those relationships, people are open to giving you more information. So
Right.
don't shy away from reaching out to other agents from other brokerages who are maybe in the same area and ask them, hey, I have buyers. Like, do you have anybody that's looking for this and this and this? Now, this is information that you have in your pocket when you're talking to these people, the buyers, when they walk into your open house.
Yeah, I love that. And then you and I talked, and afterwards, you're sending video messages to these people who come through and sharing about the other properties and building that relationship further. Brilliant, brilliant strategy in terms of getting out there, meeting people, differentiating yourself, building that relationship. I absolutely love that. All right. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much. We could spend hours and hours talking about this, but this has been great for a lot of agents out there who may not been doing open houses or not doing them consistently. I think what you said about consistency is absolutely the best point of this. Whatever lead generation strategy you're doing, do it consistently. So
Yep.
love having you on. Thank you so much. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.